Welcome to a Cincy Fan Talking with LP. And for the last time this year, it's your boy LP. Last one. Make it a great. Let's do it. Let's do it. Last one of the year. Merry New Year. Ha ha ha. I'm always stuck on saying that. Like one of my favorite Christmas movies, by the way. It is a Christmas movie. Trading Places. The awesome movie starring Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. They're on the train, trying to trick Clarence Beats into give him up, the supplies or whatever. Eddie Murphy's like, ha 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 ha, Merry New Year. So that's like my thing. That's what I say all the time. I don't know. It's dumb. It's just what I do. Y'all know that. Hey, but welcome to a Cincy Fan Talking with LP. Welcome to the last episode of the year. Um, Happily on somewhat of a schedule. You know, posted last week. We up here this week. Look at me trying to get my life right. I mean, it's the end of the year, but hey, it's never too late, right? And this way we can kind of roll into the new year on a schedule. You know, I'm trying to get it right, y'all. So this is week 2 of the awesome 2-week winter break vacation where I post up for like 15, 16 days and really don't do much. Play a lot of 2K. Of course, it's early in the morning or late at night when nobody's really awake when I can actually play, growing up problems. Haven't really thought about school until I started doing the research for the next teacher movie review, which we'll talk about later on. It's a classic. I got a hot take about it, and I normally don't do hot takes. Y'all know that. But I actually have a hot take about this. Some might agree with it, some might not agree. I'm a little jaded because I'm a teacher, but that's just how it goes. I'm starting to I'm starting to get that feeling where I see school creeping up on me. Right, like the first week, last week, it was great. I was on the low side of the hill getting to back to school. Now I can kind of see it creeping up on me. Um, I'm back next Monday. The kids are back next Tuesday. So we get a day in the building without the kids, but I mean, still, you got to go back. You got to hear the chit chat. You got to make small talk. What you do? What you do? Dude, we don't really want to be here. We want one more day. I need to manifest, like, and I hate to be greedy. I really do. But I'm trying to manifest a 2-day snow event that causes so much snow that we're not back in school immediately. And I know it's greedy. Hearing somebody say with 2 weeks off, they're trying to get another few days. That's just how it go. Once you get this non-teaching life for a couple weeks, you just want more of it. And we're in Cincinnati, so I'm sure there'll be some more snow days, but I just want them now. I know it's greedy. I get it. Don't judge me. Um, let's jump into it. So, New Year's Eve coming up, wherever you happen to be. Yeah, it is coming up. And once again, me and the fam, the wife and myself, we're gonna be stuck next to the television. You know, we were thinking about planning some stuff, thinking about maybe going out. If somebody could watch our crazy kids, I don't know. They're not crazy, they're cool. And then we were like, whoa, wait a minute. Buckeyes are playing on New Year's Eve. We hate when they play New Year's Eve. Let me flip that. We hate when they play meaningful games on New Year's Eve because it's like we gotta watch it. We have to. Like Ohio State has meant so much to us. And if you've heard the pod, you know the story. You know the origin story of your boy. But I give you a brief synopsis if you're new to the pod. Grew up an Ohio State fan. Been going to the Ohio State campus since sixth grade. Part of the Young Scholars Program. What's up to all my YSP alumni? Love y'all. So I was going to Ohio State every year. Learning about the school, helping them get a little bit of diversity. That whole thing. Grew up, went to Ohio State with my best friends. Met the wife there. Met the mother of my first child there. Now this didn't really overlap, so had my first kid at Ohio State. You know, in in the university hospital. Met the wife there. I graduated from there. She graduated from there. My stepkid, her daughter, she graduated from there, and we're crimping more of them to come on up. Taking them to campus, let them know what it looks like, the whole nine. So Ohio State runs deep. Everything in here is scarlet and gray for the most part. We have the flags outside flowing. The night after Ohio State won the title last year, we had this ridiculously huge OHIO sign posted right on our driveway, right on the garage. Just a ignorant large sign, just to let people know that's what it is. OHIO. So it's like we have to watch the game, but we're not gonna be in a setting to where we can just half watch the game. No, we gotta be like invested. We gotta we gotta like live every single play. So we really can't go out. This happened in 2022, and the wife still is upset about it. She's like, "How do you bring in the new year like that?" Long story short, Ohio State's down 42-41. These losers at ESPN got it to where Ohio State kicked the deciding kick at the stroke of midnight. Yeah, and he missed the kick. So while everybody's like 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year, we're like, make it, make it. He missed it, and we're like, wow, that's how we run game the New Year. That's what it was. So now we're like, we don't want to relive that again, and we know ESPN wants to relive that again. That's probably like, please let it happen, please let it happen. We're like, no, we don't need that. We would like a blowout. So that way we can just kind of cut to the ball drop and then cut right back to Ohio State, pop in Miami. Um, Not about to go into a real deep dive about what I think is going to happen in the game. Long story short, I see Ohio State winning 24-10. Miami has a really good defense. Ohio State has an amazing defense. Ohio, Michigan, Michigan, listen to me. Miami has a good offense. We have a great offense. So at some point, we're going to get some points. And I don't think Miami can score enough points. I don't think their offense can handle our defense. I don't see it happening. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored, but I think most of those points will come from Ohio State. So I'm getting 24-10. That's what I'm thinking. Again, let me preface this. Let me go ahead and put this out here. Do not use my critiques to bet. You're probably not going to win. The few times that I use my own critiques, I don't win. So don't do it. If you do it, remember that voice in the back of your head. That's me saying, "What are you thinking? Why are you listening to me?" That's what I'm saying. Um, Another thing I've been doing is trying to knock out this honeydew list. Now, I'm not gonna hold y'all up. My honeydew list is like, I don't know, a year overdue. It's like I try to remember to do this stuff, and the wife, she doesn't want to be like hassling me about it. She doesn't want to remind me every 5, 10 seconds, and I get that, but I'll forget, and then she'll be like, "I need you to do that," and I'll be like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And then she's like, "Because you're gonna say, Why are you sweating me about it? I know what I need to do. And I'm like, damn, that's a smart lady. Because that's what I'm going to do. So I've been trying to just knock it out. Um, Took care of some stuff at the beginning of the break. Um, what I do? Hung some stuff up. Um, got a lot of recycling out of the house. Why are there so many boxes? Amazon is killing the game. I'm breaking down boxes and stuff, and I'm like, man, Amazon really eating off of us. And I look around and I'm like, Amazon eating off everybody on the cul-de-sac. I'm breaking down so many boxes with the little fake arrow smiley thing on there. Just, trying to get it done. One thing on the honeydew list was for the homeowner, us, to finally get rid of that super duper old exterior light fixture that's outside of outside of our door. We bought this house 7 years ago. We were in it for a few years before we bought it. We were renting it, and then we bought it. I made that seem very simplistic how it happened. It was not simple. We'll talk about that another time. But let me tell you, it was not easy. A lot went into getting this home, so we cherish it. And we were like, we're gonna do some, remodeling, some redecorating, get some stuff done, update it. Time went by. Things happen, great things, terrible things, things. The highs and the lows. And some were great, some absolutely sucked. But we're living life and that stuff kind of passes you by. So, wifey kind of reminded me, like, hey, I wanted you to get that done. And I'm like, you know what? I'm on it. I was a little intimidated about trying to plug in an exterior light fixture. Taking one off, making sure I don't shock the mess out of myself or blow something and burn the whole house down. I was a little intimidated. Good old YouTube. Wifey shows me a YouTube video. The guy's like, I can help you install your light fixture in 10 minutes. But the video was only 6 minutes and 43 seconds long. I'm like, what are we on? And he did it, and I'm like, wow, it's really that easy. He made it look easy. And a lot of those YouTube tutorials, they'll make stuff look easy, but it's not easy. I'm like, after he did it, I'm like, I got this. So, get my little ladder, get my little step stool, get up there, start taking apart the light fixture. I'm like, dang, this is easy. I start plugging in the other stuff. It's kind of like messing with jumper cables. You make sure the black one's on the black one, make sure the white one's on the white one, make sure the ground units are wrapped up. And I'm like, yo, this is easy. Look at me. Bob the Builder, can we fix it? I'm out here feeling like that. I'm humming the theme song like, I'm really on that. I get it done. Turn on the light to see if it works. It flickers. Doesn't work. Turn it on again. It flickers. It doesn't work. I'm like, come on. Give me this one. I got this. I take it down. Make sure I got everything right. Hook it up. Check it again. I don't even have a flicker this time, y'all. It's not even happening. So wifey is like, maybe the light fixture is about the store model. That's the only one they had left. They only had the display one. I'm like, okay. Run up to Home Depot right up the street. Get a new light fixture. I'm like, okay, this is super simple. Now I know exactly what to do. I already got it. Hook it up. Nothing, y'all. I'm like, I feel a little defeated. I was about to keep going, but we in Cincinnati, Ohio. And then the wind just started winding like whoo, whoo. And I'm like, you know what? Let me get down up off this ladder. I get down. We do some Kings Island things, enjoying Winterfest. Come back. I say, you know what? Let's just call somebody. Let's just get it done that way. So, call somebody out. Have them come up and fix it. You know what he tell me, y'all? This what he tell me. He tell me, man, you did everything right. I'm like, say what? He's like, man, you did everything right. It's just like It's a little bit of corrosion on here. You probably didn't get the everything on here good because of that, but this will be a pretty easy fix. You pretty much did all the work. I'm looking like, cuz you gonna give it to me like that for real? So I bit the bullet, but I learned a valuable lesson. I got this. It's another light fixture in the back. I already told wifey, nobody's getting no call for this. Like, I'm either getting this to work or it, it's just not gonna happen. I'm not paying again, and I know how to do it. It's like one of those things where it's like you kind of felt upset because it didn't go your way, but you feel like you got all the knowledge you need to get it done. I feel like that's where I'm at now. This homeowner thing is a trip, man, because it's like when you're renting, none of this bothers you. You don't worry about this stuff. If something doesn't work, you make a phone call. You complain because they taking forever because that's what they do. They finally get out here. They get it done. You pay $0, 0 cents. Simple. This homeowner stuff, man. It's like I've learned how to do so many things in this house. Like I've learned how to mess with the circuit breakers. I know how to make sure that the water pipe is doing what it's supposed to do. If the furnace isn't lit and all that stuff, like I'm like these homeowner problems are something else. They don't give you this template growing up. They don't tell you like, you know what? Being a homeowner is great. But when something break down, that's on you. Hey, homeowners out there, if you just getting into the game, like I know I got a lot of young people that listen to me, which is kind of wild, but I kind of I don't get it. But check it out. The young folks out there, get home owners insurance. And not only that, get that. most most mortgage companies make you get that anyway. What you want to get is you want to get that home warranty stuff. When something breaks down in your house, you get somebody else to come and do it, and then you don't have to pay the whole cost. Get that. It's like another $50 a month tacked on to whatever you're paying. It is worth it. Looky here. It has saved my butt on many an occasion. Because a lot of this stuff costs a lot. And you really don't get the game like that. Some people growing up don't really have people that own homes. Like a lot of people have family members that rent a lot. So listen to Homeowner LP. Get the home warranty insurance. Get that. And figure out how to do a lot of stuff in the house on your own. Like that small stuff, like putting in light fixtures and stuff like that. Learn how to do that stuff. You can save yourself a pretty penny. You really can. And hey, in this economy, what's going on nowadays? You trying to save that all. Like how much are eggs now? $75? Like, hey, eggnog was like $7. For I'm like $7 for eggnog. Hey, I might as well get the one with the liquor in it, man. Like, what's the difference? Or just spike it, I guess. I don't know. I guess I do know. But we'll save that. Um, I read something. I think it was on ESPN where Iowa State they only have 16 members on their football team right now because everybody else either graduated or they decided to switch teams because their coach decided to go to Penn State. Yeah, college athletics as we know it, cooked, served with garnish, like cooked, done. Stick a fork in it. Like the game is so messed up right now. Like it really is. There are some college athletes. Now, I'm not judging. I'm talking about the system. You got some college athletes that have played with four schools in 4 years. You don't like one school, they go to another school. The coach from that school leaves, you go to another school. That's crazy. When I grew up, here were the rules. You could transfer if you wanted to. If you didn't like a school, if a coach left and you didn't like that coach or you didn't like the new coach, you could leave. But you couldn't play the next year at that school. So if I'm playing for Iowa State and I decide to go to Arizona State, I have to wait a year before I can play with Arizona State. It was really messed up, but you kind of understood what would happen. You understood what was going on. They didn't want people cheating the system. Fast forward to now, by the way, coaches could just leave whenever they felt like. Now, coaches can leave whenever they feel like, and players can leave whenever they feel like too. This sucks for everybody involved. Now, me from an educational standpoint, I'm looking at this kid and I'm like, if you're going to four schools in 4 years, how in the hell are you graduating? How are you getting a degree? What are you majoring in? How is that major transferring to three other schools? How is this happening? What you majoring in? Like recreational entertainment? Like that's kind of the part that bothers me. But some kids are like, I'm in this to go pro. I'm looking for the best fit for me. But how do you find that fit if you're playing in four schools in 4 years? That makes no sense. Even if you're playing in like three schools in 5 years, that's still hard to do. Personally, I don't understand why the NCAA doesn't just step in and say, look, here's what we're doing. And it's really pretty simple. You get the first transfer for free. So if you decide to leave after a year or so, that's cool. If you decide to leave that school to go to another school, you have to sit out a year. If your coach leaves, you automatically get to decide if you want to leave or not. That doesn't count for the first one for free. Because let's face it, let's say LP is a star place kicker for Ohio State, but Ryan Day leaves. And I went to the school specifically because Ryan Day was there. It would be unfair for me to have to stay at the school, so I should get to leave. That makes perfect sense to me. Now, what doesn't make sense is quarterback LP loses a quarterback battle, so I don't get to play. So then I leave to go to Illinois. I lose the quarterback battle there. So then I decide to leave and go to USC. That's kind of soft. That's some soft thinking right there. You got to get better. Like it's not their fault you're losing the quarterback battle to LP. You have to decide and look really hard at the places you want to go. And if I only had one transfer, I really would. But if I know I can leave when the going gets rough, what am I really learning? What are we really teaching kids? That's the part that lets me know that college athletics is cooked. Like it really is. And that's not even talking about the NIL or the money that's being thrown at these kids and these schools. I'm just saying the way that it's being ran right now. And I don't know how I feel about this to be honest. It's it's all about the money. The gloves are off. We now understand what was a dirty secret 10, 15, 20 years ago. This is all about the money. This is a huge money grab. And education has fallen to be a distant second to football or basketball. That's what it is. And we can do two things. We can either fix it so there's some semblance of student and student athlete, or we can just admit to what we're seeing is really a glossed up farm system for the NFL. and for the NBA. And just treat it like that. Just take off the whole amateurism thing and run this like it's professional, because that's what's happening now. There's just this rush to put the student in front of the athlete when nobody else is doing that. So I say either really run it like that, run it like a multi-million dollar business slash corporation where you have professional athletes trying to win games and help out the owner's bottom dollar. Just run it like that. Or really put the education of these kids first and go like, because we want you to graduate, or because we want you in a good position to graduate after you leave here and go play pro, I can't let you leave my school after a year and you just left another school after a year. None of these kids are going to graduate. Not for real. And the ones that do, it'll be because they really put the time in during the off season. They really wanted that diploma. They really wanted that degree. But the motivational factor for that when you're making millions has to be small. I don't know. I'm not making millions. I'm just saying if I'm making 10, 12 million dollars, I'm looking at the degree. And if I don't have that wherewithal, if I don't have that, I care about education, so I want this because I know what it means. If I don't have that, then I'm like, dude, 12 million degree, 12 million degree, 12 million. Right? What I need a degree for? That's what it's looking like. So I feel like the powers that be and all of us just need to take a really hard look in the mirror and go like, what are we really doing here? I love Ohio State, like I do. It it's it's given me a lot of things in my life. It really has. But if I'm being honest, they're using football to fund all of the other sports and to make more money for the school. I'm not sure how much they care about the athletes. Well, I'm there enough to know that when I was there, they were forcing them to go to class for the most part. But what's going on now? I don't know. It's a really interesting debate to have. And if we care about education, then we have to fix the transfer cycle. If we really just care about TV money and ad revenue and more money for our school, then let's just take away the facade of we want them to get an education. Like, if you don't care about that like we care about that, then let's just stop faking it. That's all I'm really saying. Let's just be honest. Alrighty then. So, last week, I did an honest deep dive into a teacher movie. Instead of my 5 minute thing where I talk about the movie real fast and then I rate it, I actually did research and found interesting stuff out about freedom riders. And I felt like I learned a lot about it. And I learned that I really did like that movie. I really felt that it gave an honest portrayal about what it's like to jump into an inner city school system. Now, those kids were super old. Those kids were grown. Like they were not ninth graders. But for the most part, it was a really accurate portrayal. So I'm like, let's do it again. And I did the research and everything. And I found out some stuff that made me look at a movie. Well, I won't say it made me look at it a lot differently, but I found out more stuff than I knew. And it made me look at this movie even more differently than I did before. So we jumping into 1995. Now, last week we were in 1994. So we're jumping up a year. So we jumping into a time where gangster rap was taking over. It was a whole lot of East versus West beef. Everybody had their leather jackets on, and we were all bumping Coolio. Look, check it out. You Gen Zers out there, don't make me look crazy. In 1995, you either loved or hated Coolio because you heard him on the radio every 5 minutes. And we're gonna talk about that while we talk about this movie, Dangerous Minds. Yep, that's the one. So this movie stars Michelle Pfeiffer playing Luann Johnson, a retired U.S. Marine who takes a job teaching Academy English. And I know you heard me with the air quotes with Academy English at a high school in California, LA, things like that. So she's assigned to a classroom full of underachievable students, mostly from lower income backgrounds who have been written off by pretty much everybody. Now, this is actually kind of an autobiographical movie from Luann Johnson, and the book is called "My Posse Don't Do Homework." Um, I actually read the book, and we're gonna talk about that in a moment. So, for my people that aren't familiar with the movie, let me go ahead and kind of give you the overview. So, Luann walks into class one day, and the kids just give her the blues. I hate that I laughed so hard when they called her white bread. Like, kids have insults that just make you turn your back to the class and just lose it. To just call her white bread, like the comical racism is wild. Like, who taught you to call this white lady white bread? That's crazy. They're disruptive. They don't care about poetry. They really don't care about much. She walks into the room and it's like a freestyle battle going. Well, I won't call it a battle. They got a freestyle cipher going on. They dancing and pop locking, and this is in the middle of class. Like, there's no education going on at all. So to get through to them, she's like, I got to get to them on their level. So she ditches the what was it, like the fourth or fifth grade level textbook that they had, and she's like, she's gonna get at their level. And so she's using some, let's call them unconventional methods. She's hitting them with bribes. Um, Honestly, as a teacher, I've done this many a time. She's giving them candy bars. She's promising them trips to amusement parks. I'm not promising trips to amusement parks. I'm not paying for that. She's using her marine skills to teach them karate in a class. She's using lyrics as literature. She breaks out the Bob Dylan versus Dylan Thomas contest where they have to find a lyric from Bob Dylan that matches a lyric from Dylan Thomas. Only problem is Dylan Thomas only talked about like dark stuff, and Bob Dylan's kind of like happy go lucky or whatever for the most part. uh, my fault. I'm looking at these kids and I'm like, you trying to reach them with Bob Dylan? Really? For real? Did you hear the freestyle they were doing? You think Bob Dylan getting to them? We'll talk about that a little bit later. And so she's trying to let them know that the poetry is a way of expressing the struggle that they see in everyday life and how their life kind of mirrors the poets and the musicians. And I get that part. So as the movie goes on, Luann gets involved in the lives of her students, specifically Emilio, the class leader who basically had beef with a couple of people, and the story kind of goes back and forth between him and him trying to get out of situations that he was in. And then there's a student named Callie who's really, really smart. She has an unplanned pregnancy, and they're trying to kick her out of school because she's pregnant. And I'm like, wow, they were really doing that in the 90s? Now, I did not know that. Me being a high school student in the 90s, I can't recall a situation where a student got pregnant and then they asked the student to just leave. That was new to me. So it kind of went from a movie where Luann is like a fish out of water, and then it's like a heavy drama after the comedy part, and it kind of talks about the failures that these kids face every day. So overall, well, at the end, the kids they get the teacher to stay for another year, and there's this happy-go-lucky montage at the end where they're dancing. And, well, not a montage, but you got the kids dancing with the teacher, and they're showing the teacher how to do the Tootsie Roll. And yeah, the Tootsie Roll. And then the movie ends happy, happy, go lucky. Now, overall, Dangerous Minds is always going to be a classic. Like it's just a classic movie. You got the soundtrack that was awesome. You got Michelle Pfeiffer coming in to save the kids, and it was dope. And it was a good movie. And it really made you believe that one teacher could really make a difference in the class. That movie was, I wouldn't call it a motivational reason for me to become a teacher, but I saw it and I was like, man, that's pretty dope. I know teachers like that. But here's the hot take. And this hot take is from me being a teacher for as long as I've been a teacher and seeing stuff in the movie that triggered me now that didn't trigger me back in the day. So I asked this question: is Dangerous Minds actually dangerous to how we think about education? Now, follow me on this. Now, you're listening to somebody who had to teach during the pandemic, and you saw all the stuff that happened with teachers during the pandemic. I really felt that that was the one time where the public understood what it took to be a teacher. And this has always been my complaint about the teaching profession. The movie, it was well intentioned, and I saw what they were trying to do, show how teachers make a difference. But I feel like personally, it just kind of pushed this narrative that you have a predominantly white teacher, and she's the only teacher who's capable of reaching these kids. Like it kind of says that the teachers that were there, black, white, Hispanic, whatever their race may be, it kind of shows that they couldn't reach them at all, and it took a new teacher to jump in and do what they couldn't do for years and years and years. And that's kind of wild to me because a lot of these teachers, they do this stuff every day. I cannot count how many times after practice I've had to like shuttle kids home and stuff like that because there's no way they were getting home. Like my wife was pregnant and like she's in the passenger seat and the kids are in the back seat and we're just dropping kids off, so they don't have to be out in the cold after a game or after practice and stuff like that. And it's not stuff you really think about. It's stuff that you feel like you have to do because the system's so broken. Like without teachers doing that, these kids are really stuck between a rock and a hard place. And it really just felt like it's set up an us versus them dynamic where it's the teacher battling the system, but it's really all of the teachers in that school battling systemic barriers. Like they're battling things like a legacy of poverty, a very low tax base that can't really get them the stuff that they need in their schools. Like they're battling all of this stuff. And it's like you have this savior coming in and conquering all of that. And it's just really unrealistic. I just don't see a situation where a teacher can do that without the help of the school. And she really didn't have the help of the school at all. It just kind of romanticized the idea of a teacher needing to be like this heroic figure that bent every rule and became a social worker, a parent, a bodyguard, a loan shark. Like it felt like this teacher had to do all of that just to get noticed and make a difference. And this is one of my wife's and I's complaints about teaching overall. The teachers that get recognized are the teachers that go super duper above and beyond, and they're burning themselves out and they're spending their own money and they're doing all of this, and that's what gets you noticed. And you have most teachers who come to school, they do their job every day, they help the kids, they make the phone calls, they do all of this stuff, and nobody notices because you're not taking kids anywhere. You're not staying until 8 o'clock at night. And we're like, I got kids too. Like, who's staying with my kid while I'm staying with your kid? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where You have to do so much just to get noticed as a quote unquote good teacher. And most teachers are that. They just don't have the time or the resources to do that. Like it really, like I said before, it ignores all the systemic issues, the lack of funding, the lack of resources, the lack of a qualified staff. Y'all, I've had so many friends that were good teachers that either stopped teaching or they moved to a place where they could get more help, they could get more money, they could get more, they didn't have to drive so far to get to the school because everything is just broken. There's no community support. And all of these things, this is what creates dangerous classrooms. It's very rarely, I've had very few situations where I walked into a class and I've been afraid to teach. And I think any teacher will tell you that. It's the stuff that happens before you get into the classroom that makes these situations so dangerous. The lack of books, the lack of community support, the lack of staff when somebody calls off. You really don't have a sub to do this stuff. So you have to combine kids in a classroom instead of having a sub. So you'll have classes with like 32 kids instead of 21 kids because somebody had to call off because they got sick. This is the stuff that makes a dangerous classroom. There are very I cannot think of an instance where I had an issue with a kid in a class and the kid walked up on me and threatened me like I'm not doing any work. That doesn't really happen. That's not I mean, I don't think it's a thing. There are some places where that's a thing. It's just rare for it to be a thing. So while we love a good underdog story, we love those stories where, people rise up and they overcome all of the systemic issues. Sometimes stories like those, they just kind of distract from the real work that needs to be done in the classroom. Like we need those tax levies to pass so staff can stay in the school and good staff. So you're not hiring first year teachers and expecting them to do the work of an 8th year teacher. It's not fair to anybody and definitely not fair to the students. So that's really my hot take. I just felt like the dangerous part wasn't really talked about. Like they made it seem like the kids were the dangerous minds, but the dangerous minds are really the ones that made the school so messed up in the first place. So I would be interested to know what people thought about that take. So hit me up on the socials and just kind of let me know like, hey, I hear what you're saying. I know somebody that's a teacher and they really felt what you were saying. Or LP, what you talking about, man? Like, what are you on right now? You going a little bit too deep in this movie. And I get it. So just let me know. You can hit me up Twitter or Blue Sky. Cincy fan talking. Leave off the G. And let me know what you think. So before I give you my overall ranking or whatever, since I read the book and did like a super deep dive, I'm like, you know what? I better go ahead and drop out some quick trivia facts too. Number one, this is based off a true story, like I said in the very beginning. So, Luann Johnson wrote a book called My Posse Don't Do Homework. And she taught at a school, Carmount High School. It's a school in California. So, some of the stuff might have seemed wild, but this was all based off a true story. We can't talk about Dangerous Minds without talking about Coolio. I mean, we can't. Coolio had us in a headlock in '95. Let me tell you, it was relentless. Like Coolio featuring LV, Gangsta's Paradise. Hey, young people out there, like when you get in the car or something with your parents or like your uncles or your aunts, find this song and turn it up as loud as you can, and just watch the face of that parent or that uncle or aunt. Just watch it twist up because that's all they played on MTV. That's all you heard. I feel like banging my head against the wall right now, but it was a banger. It stayed number one on Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks. It was the best-selling single of 1995, and it won a Grammy. Michelle Pfeiffer was in the video, and like it just kind of helped it all just become more iconic. Like, like it really was. Um, Michelle Pfeiffer got paid. Like she got dope. She got paid $8 million for this role. That made her one of the highest paid actors of the time, and she sang lead vocals on one of the soundtrack songs. I'm not gonna lie to you. I never heard this song. I must have skipped over that, but I never heard that song. I can't tell you if it's a banger or not. What I can tell you is, I distinctly remember. I thought I was tripping. But I was like, didn't they make this into like a TV show? They did. In '96, they turned this into a TV show. Annie Potts played Leanne Johnson. It only lasted for a season. Like I knew it wasn't gonna last for long. But I remember they played like UGK in the songs as they were like kind of leaving out. Like towards the, I think it was the end of the first episode. I started hearing UGK. I'm like, are they playing UGK right now? Like Underground Kings done made it, but the show did. um, I will say the one thing that kind of like messed me up about this whole movie was the fact that I found so many things about this movie that weren't true. And the wife and I, we had ourselves like a, I won't say a spirited debate, but we kind of went back and forth about this when I talked about this earlier because I was kind of telling her like I'm a little salty that the person that wrote the book didn't even like the movie. And she's like, you got to understand, once Hollywood get it, they got to Hollywood it a little bit for you to like it. And I'm like, you make a good point. I get that. I just feel like they did a little bit too much Hollywood stuff with it. And she's like, nobody really wants to know about people's like regular life, not for real. But if you kind of add extra sauce to it and then sneak the facts in, that might work out. And I'm like, maybe so. It was just the white bread disrespect, the hilarious. Not that calling her white bread is funny. It's just the fact that a kid would think of that to say. Like who around you knows about that? Well, guess what? That never really happened. In the movie, they're hostile to her from the first minute. Emilio was so creepy, bordering on like sexual harassment. Cause like wowzers. In the book, the students were quite respectful. They called her Miss Johnson. They didn't use any racial slurs or insults towards her. They didn't do any of that. The real life students were actually upset that the film made them look like that. Like they were kind of salty because they said that Miss Johnson treated them like humans, like regular people, like good students from the start. I saw that and I was like, oh my goodness. And then I kept looking up more and more stuff and I kept finding more and more messed up stuff. The Bob Dylan thing didn't happen. That actually made sense. I'm like, man, these hood kids are not about to listen to no Bob Dylan. Like, be for real. Luann Johnson said she was actually using Public Enemy because she felt like the songs like 911 is a joke. She felt like these are like direct ways to show them that lyrics that they know can actually have power. That made way more sense. I mean, I do that in class. Apparently, Hollywood swapped it for Bob Dylan to make it more relatable to a audience. Wider audience. Wider audience. That's what they said. I'm going to let you fill in the blanks on that. Luann Johnson didn't like the white savior narrative. Like, she didn't appreciate it. She said she didn't change her personality or her wardrobe to trick the kids into liking her. She said she just treated them like capable adults. She said that's all she did. The movie hyped it up. They got her a leather jacket. They had her acting tough. They had her acting like, she was a karate master, which also, by the way, didn't happen. She didn't do a karate demonstration for the class, she said. She said she had a kid show the class some karate stuff. But the kid did that and then just sat back down. So the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm like, cuz it's like you telling me there's no Santa Claus. Like, what are we doing? The bribes and the candy bar stuff didn't happen. She said she had stickers that she gave them, and she gave $1 to a student in class. And she said that's about as far as it went. Luann lended a kid $100 so he wouldn't get beat up for his jacket that he bought. He said he paid her back every single cent, and the movie made it look like he didn't. So overall, it's like I know Santa Claus isn't real, but you watch a movie, and when you watch a movie so many times, like some people watch movies so many times, you start seeing this stuff and you think it's real. You think it actually happened. You gotta kind of slap yourself like, okay, okay, reality, reality. I expect them to gloss it up some, but they took like key things of the movie and they just made it up. That wasn't cool at all. Overall, for my verdict of the podcast, of the podcast. So my verdict for the movie is the white savior thing kind of got a little bit much. It did. But for the time period we're talking about, it was a huge hit and it really had people talking about what goes on in schools. I don't think they were having the right conversations, but overall, the entertainment value of this movie, Michelle Pfeiffer acted her hind parts off, and you got to give it to her for that. And the soundtrack, I give it a 6 out of 10. Gangsta's Paradise is one of those songs that you like it the first 17 times you hear it, but after the 38th time, you like, make save me. Save me. Overall, though, it's a classic inspirational teacher movie. People are going to connect with it. Teachers are going to see themselves in it a little bit, maybe not a lot. And even if you haven't seen it, it's worth you watching just to see how people looked at quote unquote tough schools back in the 90s. It's kind of like how they looked at them back in the 80s, and we'll get into that like in another week or something like that. But overall, decent movie. Reading the book kind of dulled the light for me, but I give it a 5.5, 6 out of 10. In the genre of teacher movies, this will kind of be on that Mount Rushmore of ones that you have to see. I won't say it's one of the best teacher movies, but if you're lining up teacher movies, this is one of the four that you would have to see. And we're going to talk about another one that you have to see probably next week, because I really don't want to do this movie because I'm not going to like it more than most people like it. I We'll talk about that next week. But overall, I give this one a 6 out of 10. The entertainment value was up there. For that alone, you gotta watch it. Tell a friend to tell a friend to watch it with you. Get your popcorn. Get your favorite 90s movie. Get your favorite 90s songs. Crank them to the max while you watch it. It enhances it. Hey, yo. Be safe out there, y'all. It's New Year's Eve. New Year's Day coming up. Be safe. Uber is your friend. So if you know you drinking out there, grab a Uber. Ubers are usually free New Year's Eve, going around New Year's Day. So make sure you do that. And just be safe so you can hear it next week, man. Because you don't want to miss the podcast because you locked up in the drunk tank or something like that. That's crazy talk. Who wants to spend 2026 ringing in the new year in the drunk tank? Take it easy. Be safe. I hope y'all enjoyed the podcast because I definitely enjoy it. Ringing in another year with y'all is something that's super duper cool. Didn't think I'd still be podcasting this long. But like it's a fun thing to do. It's really cool connecting with y'all. So I'm gonna try to keep it just as safe as I'm telling y'all to keep it safe. And on that note, that's the music. We up out of here. Let's clap it up. Life is good, y'all. Peace out.